In what could very well be the most important pregame show we've ever done, the Arizona Cardinals have a chance to secure the third overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. And oh, by the way, what's the latest with head coach Jonathan Gannon ahead of Black Monday? PHNX Cardinals live from Gila starts now. In live from here, Wild Horse Pass. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier #1 Arizona Cardinals podcast. Like and subscribe, leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm fired up. I ran into the casino, sweaty, coming off traffic, almost took the wrong exit because the Arizona Cardinals are moving out, Bo Brock.
That's right. I mean, my co-host, Brittan, this guy still hasn't caught his breath. He's been sitting down for the last 5 to 10 minutes, but he's fired up about what happened in the earlier slate. You got the Giants getting a big dub, Shedeur and the Browns capping, into the season on back-to-back wins and helping the Cardinals' strength of schedule-wise. Good news as far as the draft goes. What's the latest on Jonathan Gannon? Getting a little bit
of conflicting reports, but also similar reports from the two NFL insider heavyweights, and Schefter and Rappaport. We're going to get into all of that. Of course, it's brought to you by our friends over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Make sure you hit up the website, playatgila.com, for all the details, and get out here and see what the next level is all about. We're loving it. Our last watch-along, gentlemen, here at Wild Horse Pass.
We got the feedback. Mics are back on. I think what ended up happening is I came into the Gila studio and I tackled Noah and I knocked a cord out in my excitement. The Arizona Cardinals are in line, if they lose today, as a 14.5-point underdog at LA to have the third pick in the draft.
That's about the only win that you can take out of what we've seen all season long.
Yeah.
But speaking for, Bo over here, Johnny has been out of breath for about 15 minutes. Hey, come on.
No, I do Peloton. I'm all right. No. It's a different kind of conditioning because
you're not in football shape.
This is probably the most excited I've been on an NFL Sunday in 3 months? Certainly 2.5 months.
Since September.
So let's catch everybody up to what just happened in the early slate of games. Then I promise we're going to get to Jonathan Gannon. No, man, let's see the strength of schedule star. It's our star graphic, like you're the star student of the day. It's the star student of the NFL early slate. How this is going to go down. The Arizona Cardinals enter today picking 5th overall behind the Raiders, the Giants, the Jets, and, of course, the Tennessee Titans. If the Giants won, which they did, Cardinals jumped them, no questions asked. So the Cardinals moved into 4th place within the last hour. Jets took care of business. Chef's kiss to Matt Eberflus, hooking Jackson Dart and company up. So the Giants go down. Then that, tricky little strength of schedule, that little B that we've been dealing with, strength of schedule with the Tennessee Titans. Even though the Titans beat the Cardinals, the Titans had a lesser strength of schedule. Not anymore. If the Cardinals somehow secured 4 stars of these games in the early slate, with the Browns counting for ×2, they would jump the Tennessee Titans. Well, we didn't even have to wait. We had the ace in the hole that were the New England Patriots. The Jets won. The Vikings won. God bless you, Brian Flores, against Clayton Tune. Pour one out for our guy, Clayton Tune.
Wow.
And then the double whammy, Shedeur Sanders on the road, legacy drive, 1.5 minutes left for the second straight week. He drives down the length of the field. He answers a Jamar Chase touchdown with a walk-off 50-yard field goal. So, again, they have jumped the Tennessee Titans for strength of schedule, assuming that they lose today, Brittan Golden.
Big W. I mean, it's good. Like I said, it's a big win for the Cardinals organization as long as they don't screw this up today and find something out. But I mean, it's a silver lining. Looking at it, hopefully, there's an opportunity to get one of these big-time quarterbacks coming out in the draft, maybe even if you have to trade up and do something. But
is there any chance that we see, because there was speculation that Josh Allen would be sat this game, is there a chance that we could see what the Cowboys did, where they played Dak a little bit and then they benched him?
I don't think there's any question about it. Okay. I think that's probably what Sean McDermott is going to probably deploy out there. They want to check a box as far as getting them this start streak extended, and then beyond that, I think that they'll probably make sure that Josh Allen is in the best possible condition for their playoffs, because there's no first-round bye at stake for them.
Yeah.
That's all locked up. So we'll see what the Bills and how they go against the Jets. But now the most important part for the Arizona Cardinals is something I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. Don't be bad at being bad. Just get the job done. Just do it. There's nothing to play for. There's no pride to play for. If the assurances that were made a couple weeks ago are going to stay in place, then what does it hurt you? But improving your draft stock and getting up the top 3 potentially here. Don't mess with it by getting a win here. Don't get a dub. I mean, it means some to the Rams. I know the Texans played it a little differently when they had the 5th overall seed at stake and they pulled their starters. But I think the Rams, for them to play the lowly NFC South here as the 5th seed, should mean a lot to them.
Yeah, because what's the alternative if they don't play the NFC South? They've got to play what?
They go to Philly.
They go to Philadelphia, which I'm sorry, with all due respect to Carolina, who's had a nice season. They're an under 500 team, Brittan Golden. Sean McVay, when's the last time he's lost back-to-back games? I don't even remember it happening.
No, I mean the Seattle game was a doozy because they went through everything and it just went to overtime and went back and forth. Crazy stuff, a lot of fireworks. But this last week against Atlanta, they were so flat. Nothing looked right.
They hadn't played in like 10 or 11 days.
It just didn't look very good. And so I think this week, like McVay, like I said, you either play the Panthers or you play the Eagles.
Yeah.
I think McVay's going to go out there and try to put 45 up.
I mean, I see Arnold in the chat, and I agree with him. I mean, like, even if the Cardinals wanted to win today, it wouldn't happen. I'm going to hold that same confidence. I don't see a lot of paths to victory, considering the status of both rosters and, the motivation on the home team's side as far as the Rams go. But we've seen crazier things happen. Yeah. I mean, we've seen it already earlier this morning. As far as the early slate goes, we've seen it before, but let's just hold out hope that the Cardinals can continue this downward spiral and at least finish the job on one thing. This is the Silver Linings podcast today. I mean, it's can the Cardinals, how high can they rise as far as this NFL draft board goes?
We need it because the toxicity around this team has been the highest since we've started covering the team. I mean, there's a lot of animosity right now directed at ownership, directed at this regime. And this draft pick, I mean, that's a nice little coup. But who's going to be making that pick, and what's the status of head coach Jonathan Gannon? Let's jump into it, gentlemen. For the better part of 2 weeks, there has been an overwhelming assumption that Jonathan Gannon would return. And this morning you wake up and you see, Bo Brock, some doubt cast from a national scene, both from Adam Schefter and especially Ian Rappaport, Bo.
Yeah, Rappaport a little bit different, I guess, tune that he's singing a little bit today. He's mentioned what we've all been mentioning. I think that Albert Breer says that the Cardinals can't run from as far as the math and how it's pointing towards at least having serious discussions about Jonathan Gannon's future, that the final month of the season has been so brutal that the Cardinals, Gannon's, I guess, status remains uncertain, where a month ago, there was assurances made that they wanted to bring Gannon back, but since they've been so non-competitive that they have to at least have a conversation after the final whistle blows on the season, weigh all their options, probably see like where the kind of the dominoes are going to fall as far as the rest of the league and the coaching carousel goes. But Schefter followed that up with some news reporting of himself, where it really does point to still what we've been hearing, that Gannon's going to come back with significant staff changes.
Yeah, Brittan, I think today is an opportunity for Gannon, looking at besides what Cardinal fans want, is to try to keep this game close. I just don't think that they have the personnel or the coaching to do it. I think that who they've been since that Dallas win is who they are, losing by 20 to 25 points, non-competitive outings. You saw, and I said this on Twitter, the Browns with Shedeur Sanders on the road going into Cincy and winning that game. Think about the Browns and their personnel and the Cardinals and their personnel and the difference in effort from 1 week to another.
Well, the Browns go out there like they want to play football, right? They're regardless of the coaching, whatever that's going on in Cleveland too, right? Yeah, the guys go on that field and they play with a little bit of passion.
Yeah.
We've just, since that Cowboys game and however many games you've lost in a row now, you've kind of seen everything decline. I agree with you in the fact of, for Jonathan Gannon, it does need to be, like, for his sake, he's got to find a way to keep this within 10 points.
Right, I agree with that.
And make it a decent outing by his squad for him to even be considered in coming back. But on the flip side of that, you also don't have anybody off. You don't have an offensive staff, coaching-wise, that can outthink McVay.
Yes.
And that can put on anything for that. That defense is going to just – I think they run through him.
Yeah.
Just like they did the first time through. So I just don't think that they have enough on the field and in the coaching box for anything to help.
There wasn't a shot the last time.
No.
I mean, the first 5 drives, it was Stafford going out there, doing what he wanted to do, throwing the ball to Puka, who is active, while Devontae Adams is not. They're going to rest him with the hamstring, get him ready for the playoffs. But they didn't – like, Devontae Adams was really a non-factor in that game for the most part in Glendale, and they didn't need him. I mean, it was they couldn't get to, known pass situations on third down because they forced 1 third down in the first 5 drives. It was that lopsided as far as the Rams offense versus the Cardinals defense. I would expect much of the same here from SoFi in L.A.
Yeah, I wrote an article. Check it out, gophnx.com, just to the state of this fan base right now. And, the insiders can report what they want. And, Michael Bidwill, they said Ian Rappaport confirmed he hasn't made a final decision. The fan base has. And I think that that's the biggest drawback for Bidwill attempting to bring back Jonathan Gannon, is that, we can be fired up about the draft. Draft's in April, right? And a pick or a free agent acquisition would only go so far. You've put it well. I put it in my article. Everything's going to come with an asterisk if Gannon returns.
Sure.
People are going to say, yeah, I like that player, but I don't buy this team. I can't tell you the amount, and it's immense, of people who have contacted us, DMs, private messages on Twitter in our responses saying, I've canceled my season tickets. They keep calling me. I'm not going to respond. That's the quickest way. I saw somebody today, put it bluntly, he's like, the only way that I can show the team that this is unacceptable is not renewing my season ticket, so I'm going to choose to do that. If Michael Bidwill has any reservations, I believe things like that will put it over the line. I'm going to tell you right now, it is an impossible ask for Jonathan Gannon, if he gets blown out today, Brittan, to sit up in front of the media tomorrow as the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals and say anything that's going to turn this fan base toward his direction. It's an impossible ask.
I don't. There's nothing he can do today, right? Because if you win, now everybody's on your head for winning.
Yeah.
If you get blown out, it's the same that we've seen for the rest of the time.
Right.
Honestly, at this point, it's just to the point of Gannon should just get through this game, and then he's probably get his walking papers on Monday and just be better for both sides. Because, like you said, right, what you can't run from as an owner is the fan base,
right?
Especially that's paying your salary. That's who's putting money in your pocket. Yeah. And when they start declining, season tickets, and people are like, I don't even want to go to any of these football games because it's just disappointing. Yeah. Now it's going to hurt you from a financial spot. Sure. So you have to understand that you can make your decisions and do whatever you want to do. But continuing with Jonathan Gannon as the head coach in a press conference Monday, I don't think you've lost your entire – you've already lost the fan base.
You've
but now
lost the
done.
plot.
It's really insane, guys, in somewhat of the divisive times that we live in, where nobody can agree on anything these days.
Yep.
Without, polarization thrown on things fair or not, that people in this area and outside of this area that follow this team can agree on one thing. It's like the people are coming from across the aisles and shaking hands. It's unbelievable that they agree that the Cardinals need a change, a facelift as far as the coaching staff goes. There isn't one thing in this world that is universally agreed on as much as it is right now as far as Jonathan Gannon.
It's the poor guy. It's his birthday today. The team put out a birthday
What are they
tweet,
doing?
Which is not I don't know. And then
at least turn off the replies.
Every comment
was that like was that them putting a canary in the mine shaft?
Maybe. You hit the nail on the head. Like, the people who are anti-Kyler Murray, pro-Kyler Murray, they're shaking hands. They're kissing babies together in their aspirations of a new head coach next year. And you talk about the financial implications. CBS Sports' Jonathan Jones.
Yeah, great reporter.
Great reporter. We've known him. He's around the team a lot. Came out and said, I think, what a lot of people have feared with ownership. is that Michael Bidwill has a hesitancy to want to pay 3 coaches.
Let's see that blurb if we could, Noah. I know we have it locked and
Well,
loaded.
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Here it is. So in Arizona, it's not for certain that the Cardinals will retain third-year head coach Jonathan Gannon, though many have said to me that Michael Bidwill may be unwilling to pay 3 fired coaches at one time, as well as the fact that the offense has been playing with a practice squad, as one source put it. Well, that's not true. Gannon has handled himself well in press conferences that aren't easy. There are big decisions in Arizona has to make in its future, including quarterback Kyler Murray. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Gannon returning or not returning should have nothing to do with Kyler Murray. It shouldn't matter, right? Whether they're going into the offseason, they've known they were going to trade him for 2.5 months.
Yeah.
And then they started stacking L's. Here's what I'm going to tell you right now. If you cut Kyler Murray, that's $47 million dead cap for next year. I mean, the offsetting language in Cliff Kingsbury's contract to buy him out, I'm guessing, is not $47 million. You're telling a quarterback who's a starting caliber quarterback, potentially this offseason, regardless if you trade him or you cut him, goodbye, we're going to pay you to go away. But they won't pay out Cliff Kingsbury? I mean, it's not the fan base's fault that ownership gave Cliff Kingsbury a contract extension that nobody was pounding the table for. The year you fired him. Those optics are impossible to overcome.
As well as the GM, though.
Right.
You got to understand that you paid Steve Keim the same time
Why
you
is
paid,
that the fan base's problem?
You paid Steve Keim and Cliff Kingsbury in February.
Yep.
And then you fired him.
Right.
Basically in December, right?
Less
than a year later.
You can't get mad at and say, I don't want to pay multiple people when you've been the bonehead and done everything. This is on you, buddy.
I don't know if you could see a worse offseason than that. I mean, I think paying Kyler Murray was the right move. At the end of the day, it's going to be looked at, was it the right move? But in that offseason, they extended their head coach, they extended their GM, who they fired less than a year later, and then they give Kyler the big, huge contract that they're trying to get out from under this offseason.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. While, a year later, they hire Gannon, they hire Austin Fort, tasked with empowering and putting Kyler Murray in a situation for success. And what did we see to start the third season?
Yeah.
The offensive infrastructure was not there from a play-calling standpoint. The last thing I'll say about this blurb, this is like elite-level trolling.
Yeah.
I've sat in those press conferences. I'm not going to say from my standpoint,
Yeah.
but I know what I see when I post press conference clips from Jonathan Gannon. To say that he's handling press conferences well, and then that's something that's to put in the pro section as far as bringing him back.
Bad.
That's trolling level stuff right there.
Maybe everybody's in on one big joke and the punchline comes on Black Monday. Let's take a look at our pregame threads brought to you by our friends at don't have those today, but we do have a little Tap That app. We're
the one time you're on top of it, we don't have them.
I like all of our threads. I like Brittan glasses today. That's all I was getting into. Pregame picks brought to you by our friends at Bet365. I'm going to tell you right now, I placed a $50 bet before the show. I'm going to tell you what it is here in a second. But how about a parlay, baby? Rams, hammer it, minus 14.5. Michael Wilson, over 100 receiving yards. That's all you need. Total points as well. 48.5
The
plus
Rams are going to do that
850.
by themselves. The Rams might beat the over by themselves.
I put $50 on Michael Wilson over 90 yards. You get plus money on with Bet365 right now. Pays
What's
out.
he need, 93?
Yeah. So if you go, I just assume if you go over.
No, he needs
90s.
83, right? No, 93.
93.
Yeah.
So I do think Marvin Wilson, garbage time. Yeah, he is a garbage time god. He's been playing well. I'm not going to put an asterisk next to Michael Wilson if he gets 1,000 yards this year. But here's what I will say. I would expect that if he gets some yardage today, a lot of that will come in the second half.
Sure. I agree with that.
I mean, the hardest thing for Michael Wilson, too, is, though, he spent the first 6 games of the season with,
No
7
targets.
total targets,
he had eight
right?
catches for 52 yards through the first 5 weeks.
And then all of a sudden you find out that you actually have a gym, even though most of it was garbage time. You still got to catch the football.
Yeah.
You still got to do all the stuff. So, I don't know.
Yeah, a couple
It's tough.
things, a couple things to look at as far as the actual game of play. Like Calais, I think he hits one of those contract incentives with a sack.
Yeah.
I think he makes gets a big payday there. We'll see what his future is. And then Trey McBride is not too far. I think he's about 70-some yards away from breaking Jackie Smith's all-time single-season record for receiving yards by a tight end, by a Cardinals tight end.
Yeah. Let's jump into your super chats here. You guys have been awesome, crushing it. Hit that like button. A reminder, people are asking, Are we going to be hanging out for our watch-along? We absolutely will be. Let's check out before our Super Chats. Inactives, Bo, you want to rep these real quick? Nothing notable here.
Well, it is notable from a standpoint of, like, Max Melton. I would have liked to see him put back in the defensive side of the football. He came back last week, played a little special teams where we know he can play on special teams. He plays that gunner role at a really high level, but we haven't seen him on the defensive side. What do you have to play for? Seeing a young player like him develop, not going to get that. Evan Brown, I caution people to stay away from Evan Brown. He's going to end the season inactive, personal reasons. I think a very valid reason why he hasn't been with the team. Kalen King, somebody they signed. Yeah, I mean, now you're getting to the point where it's like, who are these guys? Looks like Chad Ryland's going to hold on to the place kicker job at least through the finale here, as Josh Carty is inactive as well.
Let's check out your Super Chats here. Then we'll jump into our watch-along. So the party doesn't stop. Even though our pregame show is going to end and the game's going to start, you hang with us all day. Hope that you do. Here's Jack, $4.99. Having the 3rd overall pick 3 years into a rebuild should get your ass fired. Embarrassing. I think there's so much good in having the 3rd overall pick, but it's also Brittan Golden, a damning situation at hand.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a lose-lose for the organization. Right. If you look at it at that point, is you have the 3rd pick, but at what cost did it come? Like, you thought you had the right crew you brought in. You thought you had a rebuild secured with going from 3 wins to 8 wins, and then you just completely dropped the ball, and it just wasn't – they weren't who you thought they were.
Yeah.
You know, and from that side, so it is. I mean, the fact that you have to think about doing another rebuild 3 years into a rebuild is sickening.
Yeah, it's kind of like a remodel or an addition or something. It can't be like tear down the studs, but what did it cost you? It cost you everything.
It did. Let's Sand Viper, 9322, $5. Everything lines up for JG to pull a Lovie Smith and ruin our chances getting that top 3
Don't you
pick.
say that.
So let's just hypothetically say if the Cardinals were to win, it would drop them to 6th in the draft. So they would drop 3 spots. Cleveland winning assures you that you can't fall farther than 6. And I guess Washington still has to play a game, but that would be a nightmare scenario.
Be a crushing blow.
That would be a nightmare scenario. I can't process it happening.
No, let's not get to that. We'll get there if it even comes close, but we'll be laughing, even kind of discussing it probably by the late
I can't
second
believe
quarter.
they jumped the Giants.
Isn't that great?
Like the Giants, what are they doing to their fan base the last 2 weeks? I know Jackson Dart's played well.
Well, they've got their quarterback. I mean, that makes things a little bit easier.
They're not too worried about the fact of getting to the top because they don't need a quarterback. That's the difference. You have teams that need one.
But I guess they gave away their golden ticket to be able to get a trade package if somebody wanted to come
Sure.
up. But I don't know. Like, we'll see what happens with Dante Moore. We'll see what happens with Trinidad. Like, are the Jets going to be enthralled with one of those 2 guys over the kid from Miami?
Yeah. We'll have a conversation during the watch along for sure. Let's get through these super chats.
Yeah.
Ranger, big friend of the program. Been so nice and generous with supporters and super chats. If Gannon gets fired, it will be because of the fan outrage, not because they want to fire him.
I agree with that.
No doubt about it.
And season tickets, revenue. You say this all the time, Bo. It's an entertainment business.
Yep. Humble Rumble, top 3 pick, all caps. And then AZ Moses getting his Jets on. He's like Fireman Ed? Jets, Jets.
Can we get the Jets game on up here?
Would you like to watch that instead of the Cardinals game? How about our guy Alex Dominguez, $4.99, young offensive-minded head coach with a veteran DC who has former head coach experience, would feed families. Doyle, Udinsky with Bowles if fired.
I'll tell you who's doing a hell of a job is Raheem Morris's defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich. That somebody like a Jeff Ulbrich would be fantastic.
And then finally, Iron Will. Percentage odds that the Cardinals start K1 next year and use a first round on Fanu from Utah, left tackle, right tackle, with Brissett as the backup.
0.
Yeah, I don't think that you can't come back from where you're at. Not with Kyler. Right? You've burned both sides, right? You've burned bridges, and we've talked about this too many times. I think this is the fact where Kyler just is ready for his next destination.
And I put in my article, he's played ball.
Yeah.
He's been quiet on injured reserve. He's ready to start fresh, and the Cardinals are too, but we'll be starting fresh with a new head coach.
That article unlocked right now. Go PHNX.com. It is essential reading for any Cardinals fan out there. I don't think anybody's put it better than my co-host right here. Big tip of the cap to Johnny Venerable. Go read that while you're taking in this final game. Really kind of gives a true pulse of the fan base. Well done. Didn't know you were working on that. Then you dropped it
The grind
out of nowhere.
never stops. And look, we were rewarded today with moving up the draft board. I can't wait to have fun during the watch.
Well, we'll see. They got to lose first. Can they get the job done? Thanks for tuning in to the pregame show, our last of the season. Let's get to our last watch-along in the season. It's coming up right now, right here, PHNX Cardinals. Jump over to that broadcast. We'll see you soon.
We all silly like the mayor.